Okay, good morning everyone. We are going to discuss D and F lab elements, some of the important questions in topic wise, right? Yes. Now you see that question. Write the spin-only formula to calculate magnetic moment. Spin-only formula to calculate magnetic moment. Magnetic moment we have to represent with the mu. Mu is equals to square root of n into n plus 2. We have the formula where n is equals to number of unpaired electrons. Number of unpaired electrons. How do we calculate this number of unpaired electrons? To substitute in the calculation of magnetic moment also we will see that, students. This is the formula we use in this. The next question you see that between titanium plus 2, vanadium plus 2, which contains more number of unpaired electrons. Here in this question we will observe how do we calculate this n value. Here where n is equals to what? Number of unpaired electrons. Right? This n value how do we calculate we will see in this question. Let us take the next question. Titanium plus 2. If you take the titanium electron, atomic number is 22, right? Titanium atomic number is 22. If you take the electronic configuration of titanium, argon 4s2 3d2, right? Argon 4s2 3d2. Suppose if you take titanium plus 2 electronic configuration, 2 electrons lost from fourth shell, that is the last shell. So it becomes what? Argon 3d2 4s0. So here how many unpaired electrons are there in this means? You can observe in the 3d subshell. 3d subshell contains 5 orbitals. In each orbital first we have to enter one electron according to Hund's rule, right? Then only pairing is taking place. So here the number of unpaired electrons in titanium plus 2 is 2. So that n value we have to substitute in this to calculate magnetic moment. We know already that, students. So let us see how do we calculate also. We will see by taking some questions. Important questions we have based on this. Definitely they will ask either for 1 mark or 2 marks. Compulsory question based on magnetic moment calculation. So titanium plus 2 is having number of unpaired electrons 2. In the similar manner, let us check with vanadium plus 2. Vanadium plus 2, vanadium electronic configuration if you take first, vanadium atomic number is 23. Electronic configuration is argon 4s2 3d3. So now if you observe vanadium plus 2, it loses 2 electrons. That means what? Here the electronic configuration becomes argon 3d2 plus, so 2 electrons lost from 4s. So 3d3 4s0. So here how many unpaired electrons are present in 3d subshell? In the similar manner here we will take for 3d subshell means it contains 5 orbitals. So first we have to fill one electron according to Hund's rule. So that's why here also n equals to what you will get 3. So the number of unpaired electrons in case of vanadium plus 2 is 3. In case of titanium plus 2 is 2. So which contains more number of unpaired electrons means vanadium plus 2 has more number of unpaired electrons. Vanadium plus 2 has more number of unpaired electrons. More number of unpaired electrons than titanium plus 2. This is the correct answer. So like this we have to solve. Copy this one. Let us see, students, the next question. Calculate the spin-only magnetic moment of M plus 2 ion. Z equals to 27. They have given in the bracket. Means 27 element means what? A cobalt. That should be in oxidation state 2 plus, right? Indirectly what they have asked here? Cobalt. Cobalt plus 2. They have asked. Magnetic moment is how much? Do you know what is the atomic number of cobalt? Z equals to 27, right? So cobalt 27 means what is the electronic configuration of cobalt? Argon 4s2. 4s2 means argon is 18. 18 plus 2 20, right? So next 7 more are there, right? 3d7. So this is a cobalt electronic configuration. argon 4s2 3d7. Cobalt plus 2 means it loses 2 electrons from last shell, that is fourth shell. So this electronic configuration becomes argon 3d7 4s0. We know already that your 3d subshell is having 5 orbitals. Each orbital first filled with one electron. 5 electrons completed, still 2 more are there. That electrons will fill up now according to Hund's rule. So now you observe in this 3d subshell how many unpaired electrons are there? 1, 2, 3. So n equals to what here? N equals to 3. N equals to 3. Then what is the magnetic moment formula we have? Mu is equals to square root of n into n plus 2, where n is equals to what here? 3. That 3 value you can substitute here. You will get the answer. See that mu is equals to square root of 3 into 3 plus 2. 3 into 3 plus 2 is nothing but 3 5s are 15, right? So root 15 value is, how do we get to know? 3 3s are 9, 4 4s are 16. So it is almost near to 4. So that's why 3.87 or else you will get the 3.9 Bohr magneton after calculation, students. So 3.87 Bohr magneton. Magnetic moment we can measure in Bohr magneton. So this is the correct answer. This is the question they will ask for 2 marks. Right? In the similar manner, you see that students calculate the magnetic moment of a divalent cation. Divalent cation in aqueous solution if its atomic number is 25. Atomic number is 25 means which element is that? Manganese. We know already that. Manganese atomic number of 25. Atomic number is 25 means that is manganese, right? So manganese divalent cation. So Mn plus 2 magnetic moment they are asking, right? We know already that manganese atomic number is 25 means its electronic configuration is argon 4s2. Argon means 18. 18 plus 2 20. Next 3d5, right? Yes, 3d5 25. It loses 2 electrons in Mn plus 2. It loses 2 electrons from last shell, that is fourth shell. So its electronic configuration becomes argon 3d5 4s0. So in this 3d subshell, how many unpaired electrons are there? We have to count, right? So according to Hund's rule, each orbital of 3d subshell filled with one electron. Then only pairing is taking place, right? So here number of unpaired electrons if we count, we will get n equals to 5. N equals to what? 5. That value can substitute in the magnetic moment formula. What is the magnetic moment formula? Mu is equals to what? Square root of n into n plus 2 in Bohr magneton. This is the formula. Spin only magnetic moment formula, right? So n value 5 can substitute here. So square root of 5 into 5 plus 2, right? Square root of 5 into 7. 7 5s are 35. So this is almost near to 6. 6 6 are 36, right? So that's why almost we will get 5.9 Bohr magneton. 5.9 Bohr magneton. This is the correct answer, students. Like this, they are asking the question for 2 marks. Very very important model this is. Okay. Copy this one, everybody. Let us see, students. Calculate the spin only magnetic moment of iron plus 2. Here, that atomic number is what? 22. Atomic number of iron is what? 26, right? So now you take atomic number of iron is 26. So iron electronic configuration is argon 18, right? 4s2 total 20. Remaining 6 electrons will be in the next higher energy level, that is 3d, right? Yes, this is iron. Iron plus 2 they have asked. Iron plus 2 means it loses 2 electrons from last shell, that is fourth shell. So argon 3d6 4s0. After losing 2 electrons, its electronic configuration becomes like this. Now 3d6, if you observe, in 3d subshell we have 5 orbitals. Each orbital first filled with one electron. Then only pairing is taking place. So that's why 3d6 means here one orbital gets paired up, right? So remaining 4 orbitals are unpaired with 1 electron. So that's why n equals to what here? 4. We know that magnetic moment mu is equals to square root of n into n plus 2. Now you substitute the value for square root of 4 into 4 plus 2, right? Square root of 4 into 6. 6 4s are how much here? 24. So it is near to 5 because 5 5s are what? 25. So 5 5s are 25 means here it will be 4.9 approximately. This is 4.9 Bohr magneton. 4.9 Bohr magneton you will get it. This is the spin-only magnetic moment of water, iron 2 plus, students. In the similar manner, you can observe here spin-only magnetic moment of Sc plus 3. Scandium plus 3 is 0. Why? Scandium atomic number, we know already that. Scandium atomic number is 21, right? What is the electronic configuration of scandium? Argon 4s2, 20 over 3d1. But here plus 3 oxidation state now. Plus 3 oxidation state means it loses 3 electrons. 2 electrons from 4th shell, 1 electron from 3d subshell. So it becomes what? Argon configuration. Argon 4s0, 3d0. See that? Magnetic moment of Sc plus 3 is 0. Why? Because here number of unpaired electrons is 0. Number of unpaired electrons is what? 0. So therefore magnetic moment also 0, students. Then what we have to write the reason means because no unpaired electrons in 3d subshell. Because no unpaired electrons in 3d subshell. Because no unpaired electrons. No unpaired electrons in 3d subshell. So because of this reason, here magnetic moment becomes 0, students. I hope everybody understood this. Next you see that which is more stable, Fe plus 3 or Fe plus 2. How do we get to know? See that. Iron atomic number is 26. What is the electronic configuration of iron? Argon 4s2, 20 over here 26 means remaining 6 electrons will be in 3d subshell, right? So iron plus 2 you check it first. Iron plus 2. Iron plus 2 means it loses how many electrons? 2 electrons lost from 4th shell, that is 4s subshell. So it becomes argon 3d6, 4s0. Iron plus 3 you see that. Iron plus 3 means it loses 3 electrons, 2 electrons lost from 4th shell, 1 more electron lost from 3d subshell. Then its electronic configuration becomes argon 3d5, 4s0. Now you observe, compare both the electronic configurations. Of argon we have 3d6 here. Here 3d5 is there. This is a half filled electronic configuration. 3d subshell is half filled here. Half filled electronic configurations are generally more stable, right? This is not half filled, this is not completely filled also. So because of that reason here Fe plus 3 is more stable than Fe plus 2. So Fe plus 3 is the correct answer, students. Fe plus 3 is more stable. Fe plus 3 is more stable than Fe plus 3 is more stable than Fe plus 2. This is the correct answer. Okay? Copy this one. Let us see, students. Cu plus ion is a diamagnetic. Why? For example, you take a copper. Copper atomic number is Z equals to 29. What is the electronic configuration of copper? Argon 4s1, 3d10, right? So here copper loses 1 electron. So Cu plus ion electronic configuration becomes like this. Argon, that electron lost from 4th shell, that is 4s subshell. So it becomes argon 3d10, 4s0, right? So is there any unpaired electrons in Cu plus ion? No. So if you observe in the 3d subshell possesses how many orbitals total? 5. Each orbital first filled with 1 electron, then pairing is taking place. So 5 2s are 10. So all the orbitals are completely filled with the 2 electrons. So there is no unpaired electron here. N equals to what? 0. So that's why, see that the substance which do not possess any unpaired electrons in its d subshell, so that substance is generally diamagnetic. If it is there at least one unpaired electron, If it possesses at least one unpaired electron in it, definitely it is what? A paramagnetic, students. So this is what? Diamagnetic. Cu plus ion is diamagnetic due to the absence of unpaired electrons in 3D subshell. If it possesses at least one unpaired electron also, it becomes what? Paramagnetic. So that's why this is what? A diamagnetic. Now you see that why Zn plus 2 is colorless. Zn plus 2, if you observe zinc electronic configuration, zinc atomic number is 30, right? So what is the electronic configuration of zinc? Argon 4s2 3d10. Argon 4s2 3d10. We know already this. Argon 4s2 3d10. So it loses 2 electrons. It loses 2 electrons. Means this electronic configuration becomes what? Argon 3d10 4s0. So here you observe 3d10 is completely filled electronic configuration. There is no unpaired electrons. So depending upon number of unpaired electrons only, depending upon number unpaired electrons and paired electrons only, here we can identify the given substances whether it is colored compound or colorless compound. So if there is no unpaired electron, definitely it is what? A colorless compound, students. So here Zn plus 2 ion has no unpaired electrons. See that Zn plus 2 ion has no unpaired electrons. So because of that reason, this is colorless compound. If it is there any unpaired electrons are present, definitely that is what? A colored compound only, no doubt in that. Okay, and next you see that Cu plus 2 salt solution is colored. Due reason. Now you observe copper only I am taking here. Cu plus 2 na copper atomic number is Z equals to 29, right? What is the electronic configuration? Argon 4s1 3d10. Right? We know already this is the stable electronic configuration of copper. We know. So copper here loses 2 electrons. So Cu plus 2 electronic configuration, it will become argon 3d. 1 electron lost from 4th shell. 1 more electron lost from 3d subshell. So that's why it will become 3d9 4s0. So 3d9 means, see that 3d subshell possesses 5 orbitals. Each orbital filled with one electron first, then only pairing is taking place. So 9 electrons we have filled, 1 orbital is incompletely filled, that is what? One unpaired electron is present in it, right? So 3D subshell possesses 1 unpaired electron. So due to the presence of unpaired electron, what will happen means DD transition will take place. What is the meaning of DD transition? DD transition is nothing but what? The excitation of an electrons from one set of orbitals which is having the lower energy to another set of orbitals which is having the higher energy. That means what? You know, in octahedral complexes, the 5d orbitals, degenerate orbitals are splitting into 2 set of orbitals. Those are T2g level and the EZ level orbitals. We know already that. So the electron which is having, the electron in which it is present means, for example, if it is present in 2Tg or T2g orbital, that electron will excited to EZ orbital. Okay, na? That is the meaning of what? A DD transition. DD transition is nothing but what? The excitation of an electrons from a set of d orbitals having less energy to another set of d orbitals which is having higher in energy in the same d subshell. So such type of transition only we can call as what? A DD transition, students. So see that Cu plus 2 has 1 unpaired electron which undergoes DD transition by absorbing a part of visible light in aqueous solution. So because of that reason, it exhibits what? Some color, right? So Cu plus 2 salt solution is colored because of this Cu plus 2 ion possesses 1 unpaired electrons. Okay, now students, I hope everybody understood. Copy this one. Let us see the next question. Titanium plus 4 salts are colorless, whereas Cr plus 3 salts are colored. Why? See that titanium, if you observe, the atomic number of titanium is 22. What is the electronic configuration of titanium? Argon 18, 4s2, total 20 over 2 more electrons will enter into next higher energy level, that is 82, right? So plus 4 configuration. Suppose if it loses 4 electrons, 2 electrons from 4s subshell, 2 electrons from 3d subshell, you see that it will attain argon configuration. which has no unpaired electrons. So because of that reason, titanium plus 4 salts are colorless. I told you very clearly that the ion which do not possess any unpaired electrons, that ion is colorless. The ion which contains the unpaired electrons at least one, that is what? Colored substance, colored ion, right? So based on that, what we can say here, titanium plus 4 has no unpaired electrons. So because of that reason, this is colorless. Whereas Cr plus 3 salts are colored. Why? Cr plus 3. Chromium, if you take, chromium atomic number is that equals to 24, right? What is the electronic configuration? Argon 4s1 3d5. Stable electronic configuration, we know already that. But it loses how many electrons in it? 3 electrons. Cr plus 3 na 3 electrons. 1 electron lost from 4s, 2 more electrons lost from 3d. Then it becomes argon 3d3 configuration, right? So Cr plus 3 has the argon 3d3 configuration after loss of 3 electrons. So which has unpaired electron, means how many unpaired electrons are there here? 3d subshell possesses 5 orbitals, each orbital filled with 1 electron according to Hund's rule, we know that. So n equals to 3. Number of unpaired electrons in this configuration is 3. So at least 1 unpaired electron also is enough to exhibit color. So because of that reason, here it possesses 3 unpaired electrons. So which has unpaired electron which undergo DD transition. Whenever the ion possesses unpaired electron, it will involve in a DD transition by absorbing a part of visible light, and it will exhibit color, right? So the same type of question I have given to you here. In place of titanium plus 4, Sc plus 3 I have given to you. See that why Sc plus 3 salts are colorless, whereas Cr plus 3 salts are colored. Cr plus 3 salts are, why it is colored, already we have discussed. Now you see that Sc plus 3 salts are colorless. Sc is what? Scandium. Atomic number is what? 21. What is the electronic configuration of scandium? Argon 4s2 3d1, right? Plus 3 means it loses 3 electrons. 2 electrons from 4s, 1 electron from 3d, it loses. So it attains argon configuration. So Sc plus 3 has argon configuration which has no unpaired electron. So because of that reason, scandium plus 3 salts are what? Colorless, right? Whereas Cr plus 3 salts are colored, already we have discussed the same thing, right? I hope everybody understood. Copy this one. Let us see, students, the next question. Transition elements form complex compounds. Give reason. This is mainly why transition elements forms complex compounds, means they have comparatively smaller in size. Suppose if you go from left to right, size decreases. If you go from left to right, size decreases. That means for comparatively S-block elements, these transition element sizes are less. That is one of the reason. And one more reason is high ionic charges. That means what? Due to the presence of incompletely filled d orbitals. So here there is an involvement of n-1 d orbitals and ns orbitals in metallic bonding, right? So due to the involvement of n-1 d orbitals and ns electrons in metallic bonding, they show high ionic charges, means it will show variable number of oxidation states. Suppose if you take manganese, manganese shows at oxidation states varies from +2 to +7, right? So in the similar manner, most of the transition elements exhibits high ionic charges, means variable oxidation states it will show. Not only +2, +3, some of the elements will exhibit +7, +6, +8 also. So because of high ionic charges, these elements forms complex compounds. Complex compounds means we know already that in that complex compound the metal ion bounded by ligands. So due to the formation of high ionic charges, it loses electrons. So it creates some vacant orbitals. That orbitals are filled by ligands through coordinate covalent bond. That everybody knows it, right? Already we have discussed it in coordination compounds, right? So now you see that one more reason is why it will form complex compound, means due to the availability of n-1 d orbitals for bonding, right? Due to the availability of what? D orbitals for bonding. These are the main reasons. Because of these reasons, these transition elements forms complex compounds. That is what the coordination compounds. So what are the main reasons? Comparatively smaller size of the metal ions, higher ionic charges, availability of d orbitals for bonding. If they ask 3 reasons, you write 3 reasons for 3 marks. 2 reasons, if they ask, there is a chance to ask for 2 marks, right? In the similar manner, next question you see that transition metals are 3D series elements. Show good catalytic property. Give any 2 reasons they have asked here. There is a chance to ask in any manner. Why transition elements show good catalytic property, or else 3D series elements show good catalytic property? Why? There is a chance to ask you. In any manner they may ask you. So that's why I kept here R. Either transition metals or sometimes they are asking 3D series elements. The question is same only, students. Don't confuse there. So if they ask transition metals, you put here transition metals. If they ask 3D series elements, write 3D series elements. They exhibit variable oxidation states. Just now we have discussed, right? So due to exhibit variable oxidation states, so because of that reason they show good catalytic property. And we know already some of the 3D series elements will act as a catalyst, good catalyst. Suppose in the manufacture of ammonia, which catalyst we use? Iron act as a catalyst, right? In the similar manner, hydrogenation of oils, nickel act as a catalyst, right? Like that we have some of the catalysts, right? So they exhibit variable oxidation states, and one more is provide large surface area. If you take fine powder of that metal, then it occupies a large surface area, right? So these transition metals can able to provide large surface area. So because of that reason also it will act as a good catalyst. And also incompletely filled d orbitals are available in case of transition metals. So these are the main reasons to exhibit catalytic properties, students, right? These 2 are very, very important questions. Okay, na? Copy it. Let us see, students, what are interstitial compounds? Very, very important question for 2 marks. Let us see the compounds which are formed when small atoms like hydrogen, carbon or nitrogen are trapped inside crystal lattices of metal, right? So what is that meaning? Metallic crystal you can take. In metallic crystals, the metal atoms are tightly packed like this, right? Tightly packed. During that arrangement, we can able to identify some voids, means some gaps present between the metal atoms. Some gaps we can able to identify between the metal atoms. These are the gaps. These gaps are filled by small atoms like hydrogen, carbon or nitrogen trapped inside crystal lattices of metal. These are the gaps. These we can also call as voids. These voids are occupied by small atoms. Then only we can say such type of compounds are interstitial compound. Interstitial positions means that gaps are occupied by small atoms like the hydrogen, carbon and nitrogen. So because of that reason we are calling these are interstitial compounds. These compounds we can also call as non-stoichiometric compounds because both the atoms are not balanced. For example, you can take titanium combines with how many hydrogen atoms? 1.7, right? So one titanium atom combines with 1.7 hydrogen atoms. So that's why these are non-stoichiometric compounds. These are not balanced like a stoichiometric equation, right? These are not non-stoichiometric equations. Non-stoichiometric compounds we can call. Okay, now students. So this is the meaning of what interstitial compounds. Okay. I hope everybody understood. Like this only we will take some more important questions in the next video and we will discuss, students. So till now I have discussed only D block elements important questions. If any question missed from D block elements, those questions I will cover in the next class. Along with that, all F block elements questions also, important questions also I will try to give you within one video we can able to complete this chapter, students. Okay na? Okay, everybody should follow, because only important questions which will be useful for public examination, only that I am giving to you. So each and every question answer also I have written on the board very clearly. So because of that reason, you have to read that question answer, that whatever I have written on the board, that only you have to follow, students. Okay, thank you.